Welcome to episode 82 of Nobody Special.
In this episode, we talk about Union Theological Seminary and suicide.
The Gospel Outpost presents Nobody Special. Hey everyone, welcome to Nobody Special, two nobodies talking about the somebody who matters. I'm Danny, the Lorax and host of Nobody Special.
And I'm Caleb, you're the host of Nobody Special. This is the podcast where two generations of people talk about God, pop culture, politics, and everything in between, all while not taking any of it too seriously. That was hard to get out for some reason.
I know, it really was, but that's okay. All of us are here and made it,
Yep.
and doing well. Caleb,
Uh-huh.
I have a problem I need to talk about. So
Which one?
Right? Gosh, I was going to get offended, but I'm like, that's not wrong.
Yeah, that's all of us.
All right. So the thing I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get connected to other podcasts and get to know each other, build
Right.
connections, and see who else is on a YouTube, because our show is on a YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe now. I know I'm going to say this at the end, but hey, some people don't make it to the end, so go subscribe, Gospel Outpost, whatever.
Yeah.
So I've been going through a ton of those, and so the Gospel Outpost, Google thinks is very, very Christian, which, to be fair, accurate.
Yeah.
And they've decided that all the ads I need are for PureFlix movies. Mm-hmm. Like all of them, back to back.
Oh, man. What, you don't want to watch... I'm trying to come up with some stereotypical Christian movie name.
No, it would probably actually be a movie.
Watch Joe's Hallelujah story?
What for?
It's getting dangerously close to like making fun of the Holy Spirit, and I don't want to do that.
Right. But I do want to pick on these movies a little bit, just because they're they're kind of stereotypical a bit in that they're everything that you think a Christian movie is.
Right.
And it got to the point that the girl from Full House is in a lot of them. Granted, she's phenomenal. Candace Bure?
I have no idea.
The one who plays DJ.
Yeah.
She's phenomenal. I follow her on Instagram too. She's open Christian. She's a great person. She put out her own devotional Bible or something. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm not gonna slam that, because hey, there are times that they'll on Instagram just read the Bible for multiple stories at a time, and although that kind of stuff annoys me, God bless them for doing it. I'm all about it. I'm not. That's personal preference. But she's in a lot of these, and I've started to think.
Wait, where's she from again?
Full House.
Fuller House?
Well, she's from both. Yeah.
She's from Fuller House. What's Full House?
What's Full House?
I'm just kidding. No.
You.
All those young people out there.
Yeah.
No.
It's the OG
No, trust
house.
Me, I watch Full House.
I'm starting to think, Candace, you're better than these. Because I only think she's done Full House and Hallmark movies, and now I see her on PureFlix commercials, and I'm like, oh, Candace, you're better than this. Because they all start off like, in a world where such and such, she was a busy... All right, this is an actual movie.
Let's hear it.
Oh, she is a busy doctor who breaks down in a small town and has to pay a speeding fee with community service or something.
That's pretty interesting. What a plot line. What does it turn into, huh?
She falls for the homely guy who, like, I don't do no book learning, but I'm sure am.
How did that happen?
I don't at a coffee shop, or she fixed his horse or something.
What did they
I don't know.
to spend the rest of their life with each other?
I didn't watch the movie. I watched the trailer, and it's just like I'm not a fan.
Did they have any kids later?
Probably.
Do they go to church?
He does, but she doesn't have time for God. God didn't heal them. I'm a doctor.
Well,
I did it.
Sounds like something miraculous needs to happen. Which does happen. That happens on a daily basis because God is good. But there's something about watching it with bad acting and just... I can't.
These trailers hurt my soul. Like, it's really hard to sit through these and think. It's like, is this? Granted, if people make Christian movies, more power to you. I'm all about it. But
Some are pretty good.
Some of them are good.
Some are well done.
Some of them are Camp Mana. That movie is amazing. I just have to say that. We're going to watch it at some point. Is it good? No. But is it great? Yes. It's so great.
Oh
I don't know why. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But I need better stories. I don't know. It's just been weird. I'm thinking about getting a PureFlix
See,
a
my
subscription,
whole thing,
just powering through.
and I've told you about this multiple times. I think we've even talked about this on the podcast, I'm sure.
Make Christian media great again. Yes.
Yeah, that episode is super good.
Something.
Go listen to it.
Absolutely.
Go
one of my
listen
favorites.
to it. Because that's basically about what I'm about to say, which is
Right.
like, we need to tell the story of the gospel through stories that aren't blatantly Christian so
Right.
that we can reach
Right.
those people.
Right.
The lost people, because the lost people aren't going to be looking where
Sure.
the movies are found.
Sure.
I mean, that
these
sounds dumb, but think about C.S. Lewis with Narnia and J.R. Tolkien with The Lord of the Rings. I was like,
He's only done one thing, but
The
he did
Hobbit.
it great. Yeah.
And those are telling the story of the gospel through a super freaking awesome epic. And,
Right.
But yeah, and it kind of exposes them to it
Sure.
one little step at a time.
Sure. And I mean, to PureFlix credit, they're targeting Christians. These are the Christian movies for Christians. I don't know.
homeschool kids.
It's kind of it's kind of the whole thing that this isn't actually preparing anybody to understand Christianity in a real world context, because when does it work like this? Or the other thing is there's another that had just. It's the theology behind them is good. The heart, is bad, but the heart is good. But that creates a ton of confusion, as in there's a demon character in a town, and the demon character is just so OP, and so they have to punch the demon. They have to punch the devil because he's attacking someone, and I'm just like
one does.
yeah. Every Tuesday, I go devil punching. Like that, it doesn't prepare anybody for anything. So, or give good theology, and I think it's important to have good theology. But also, I need these movies to spend more than a day filming.
Yeah.
It feels as if a few of them just is like I have one day of shooting.
Budget and make like 2 TV shows instead of
Right.
50, and then they'll actually probably be decent.
Right.
And then
That sounds so mean. I know it sounds mean.
Then you can make more TV shows. Which
I mean, these people are probably proud of the stuff they do, and they should be if they're starting off. Nope, that's way meaner than I meant it to. That is. Can I walk that back?
If you're a beginner film stream service.
I appreciate movies and movies done well that tell an engaging story, and these just aren't them.
It's just only original content, which is kind of weird to me.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
get some. Is it only original? Are there other movies on there?
I think they tried to. Is this the company that had the problem that they'd take movies and make a censored version to be able to do that? That might not be them. That might be someone else.
Doesn't sound like them. They're too big.
PureFlix? No, I think they did get in trouble for. Or there's a company that tried to create family-friendly versions of movies.
Right.
So, they did Harry Potter, and they just said, get a different disc. Because,
So you can take that one, throw it in the trash.
Yeah. I threw it in the trash for you.
Take that trash bag tied up, burn it on fire.
It's just their CEO
Burn it
going,
on
it's like,
fire.
for 2 hours, like,
Yeah.
a disappointing
Wagging his
gaze, like,
fingers.
no. No, so this isn't what we're talking about today. I needed to air the grievances of having to watch we're close to 10 PureFlix trailers, and I need.
That is funny that you're getting that. That's
yeah,
pretty good.
so
That's pretty good.
I need to find just like a group of people to just power through this and goof around through them.
Yeah.
So I may tell you one day we're gonna watch a movie, but it's like, oh, it's probably gonna be Spider-Man. Come over for Spider-Man. But Caleb, it's not gonna be Spider-Man. It's gonna be Candace Bure's small town hope adventure. I don't know.
Gosh.
So Caleb,
yes.
the news has been going insane. First of all, they started an impeachment kind of a hearing or trial for something, and they interviewed someone else. And we're not talking about this because sucks. But the go pull up these clips and then play the yakety sax in the background, and it'll make
Yakety
more
sax.
sense.
Yakety yak, don't come back.
I think so. Yeah, it got buck wild. It got crazy. But we don't want to
Yeah.
talk about that because politics is a dumpster fire and it's only going to get worse for 2020. Look out, boys. The election's coming. So, and we haven't even figured out the 2016 election.
Oh, yay.
Is it collusion? Is it? Is it?
That was 2016. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, man.
Time flies.
But there was another
When you're
story.
having fun.
Right, when you're... there was another story that as I was trying to figure out, gosh, what are we going to talk about? I was trying to figure this out. And then I opened Twitter and came across this gem.
Why did you do that? Why?
This gem. I was trying to find something. And then I came across this gem.
Okay.
Union Seminary. Oh boy. Union Seminary in their chapel. Keep in mind, this is a Christian
Right.
seminary. Sorry. Allow me to say that again. Christian
Whoa.
Seminary. I air quoted for our audio people. They, in their chapel service, they had their students confess their sins to the plants.
Bad taste in my mouth.
Wait, did I read that right? Hold on, that doesn't make sense. Let me see if I read that right. Yeah, confess their sins to the plants because of global warming.
Do you not do that, Danny?
I can't say I have apologized to the plant at the door for like slowly killing it. But I feel like that's different.
That's like joking. That's
No, I really am sorry. I'm slowly killing it. But I'm like, oh, sorry, plant. You know.
Yeah.
But they were in prayerful confession to the plants.
Yeah.
Here, I'll read the tweet.
It's not cutting it.
Today in chapel, we confess to plants. Now, if I stopped there, I feel like that would be all right. But they go on. Together, we held our grief, joy, regret, hope, guilt, and sorrow in prayer, offering them to the beings who sustain us,
Oh my god.
but whose gift we too often fail to honor. What do you confess to the plants in your life?
What? Nothing.
If the remainder of this podcast is just 40 minutes of dead silence as Caleb and I stare at the computer trying to figure out what this tweet is, y'all would understand, right?
Like, are they joking? Is
No.
there some sort of joking context behind this?
No.
None.
None.
This picture, I wish you guys could see it. Let's put it up for let's put it up in the video.
I'll put the
version.
tweet up. I think I can do that.
Yeah. Put
Yeah.
the tweet up. But like
I'll embed the tweet.
it's pretty awkward.
It's pretty buck wild, man. They brought dirt in
Why
on
do
the
they
stage.
all look like they're like 5 years old? What type
it's-
of seminary is this?
I don't know.
You know, you see what I mean? They're all like they all look like they're in there like
Right?
they're 18.
I'm just saying, it's like, okay, I don't even know where to start with this, but Twitter did, and the thing I appreciate it is that all the Christian blue check marks on Twitter all seem to answer to this one. It was great, and the comments. Go find this tweet just for the comments. The comments are great because although they're being called out for their theological inaccuracy and fallacy and being accused of paganism, I would say rightfully so.
Yeah.
There's many plant-based jokes in there, the plant-based puns that really make the tweet worth reading. And even a few of my heroes got in on it. Like the whole staff from the village church got in on it. They were like,
Gosh.
they all gave comments.
Yeah.
We should all apologize and offer our guilt and sorrow and prayer to this tweet because it's low-hanging fruit.
Oh my gosh.
He's being held against his will. Hold on. Well, no. Now they've gotten serious. I guess the Calvinists picked up on this. Yes, I said it. No, I'm not taking it back. Jesus spoke to a plant once. Didn't go so well for the plant. You confess to plants. Did they make a public statement? Now, the plants actually answered back. Do you want to know what they said? I am Groot. I'm super not happy with that joke.
Now you need to leave. Now you need to leave.
I'm not happy with that joke, but I'm glad I made it. So, okay.
The thing about this is,
I don't even know where to start.
do you think there's any of these students that are like, nah, I'm done. See you later. You know? Yeah, because, like, how?
I would imagine,
How can a seminary be this far off? Like, this is far off. And a seminary is supposed to be where you're learning about the Bible, not this.
Blatantly trouncing on it? Is that a word? Trouncing?
Do I think that we should be better stewards of the earth? For sure.
Absolutely. Who is on the other side of that argument? I've always said, is like,
I mean,
should we care for the environment? Yes, we should.
Sometimes
Who is
I
on the
am
other
in the
side of
mood
that
where
argument?
I'm like, this planet's gonna die eventually, so I mean, I might as well just throw my trash on the ground. No, but I don't actually literally. But I'm saying
That's the NyQuil talking over here.
when it comes to like I know people who are super strict about like in filmmaking. There's this gaff tape, and at our company they don't like using a lot of it because it's bad for the environment for some reason.
Yeah, no, I mean,
it's non-renewable, but like
it
I don't
straight up is.
understand how like that is so like it's stuff like that where I don't care. But
Right.
like, am I going to recycle? Yes, I do like to recycle.
Right, absolutely.
Am I going to? I don't know. It's
So I've found it's
not a lot I can do besides recycle, I guess.
I do think everyone does need to do their part to take care of the planet. They're doing this basic in protest of global warming, and I get that. Okay, now I'm not going to go down the rabbit trail of a theological discussion on global warming because I'm not prepared for that, and whatever. However, our job as Christians, even from the beginning, is to steward the earth as a gift out of God that gave us to be in charge of. And in some context, we've really screwed that up. And I appreciate that. Not appreciate that. I appreciate the
Oh, that was.
I appreciate the mentality of we need shut up. We need to be good stewards of the earth.
Yeah.
I 100% agree.
Right. With anything we have.
Right. Now, the other aspect is I don't think the argument on the political end is the same argument because the
Right.
liberal side tends to be saying, no, it's important to do this. And I don't think the conservatives are in disagreement there. I think they're kind of balking at the $62 trillion price tag that's just a backdoor tax on everything we do.
Right.
And I think that's the problem. And until they can understand that's the conversation, they're not going to make any progress. But for us to confess to plants who, quote, are the ones who sustain us, well, that I would say is theologically poor because it's not it's not plants that do that. God does that.
Yeah.
Right? I feel
is
as if
so
this is
gross.
basic theology that plants don't really sustain us. It's God who does. Now, granted, God gives us plants to eat in order to consume energy from that, but it's God who is our sustainer. And just a bit of background on the school that I found that was pretty interesting is that Dietrich Bonhoeffer, yes. I keep trying to pronounce his name different every time. Bonhoeffer is one thing I said. At a point, because he was professor something, postgraduate teaching fellow at the seminary, and then as the Nazis started to take over Germany, he escaped to come to the school.
Why the school?
Well, because he was teaching there, and it was a safe place to be. And then he got there and saw that liberal Christianity and Christian theology, liberal Christian theology had taken over, and the students didn't know anything about anything. So he went back to Germany to just deal with the Nazis head on. Now, I find this funny for a couple of reasons, or just one main reason. Nazis, liberal theology.
Yeah.
Nazis,
Good
liberal theology
is important, so much so that he wanted to risk his life.
Right. I think, but as much of a joke as that is the story of Christianity, that this thing is so powerful and good that I'd risk dying for it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to understand the true God is something that as people get there, they are willing to die for it.
Yeah.
I just thought that was funny. If he knew this, a person had commented and said if Bonhoeffer knew this was going on, he'd be so upset. And I don't know, just based on the history, I think he'd be like, nope, same stuff, different day.
Yeah.
But instead of just dunking on the school, which is, I would love to just spend all the time doing that, to be fully honest.
I am curious though, because like I know, because I was looking into seminary, that typically you have to have your bachelor's to be able to be qualified to get into the seminary, right?
Broad strokes, yes.
Yes, broad strokes, yeah.
Broad strokes.
But that picture is literally, I mean, like...
They look young.
They look real young.
They might have
Surely
an
they
undergraduate
haven't
program.
already-
I honestly didn't check. They might have an undergraduate program.
That's what's kind of sad about it, is like... I mean, I guess it probably would have been even more sad if it was a bunch of like 30 or like 26-year-olds. But, you know...
I mean...
I don't know why I went that high with age, but...
Yeah, I mean, they...
It is, it's very interesting, though.
Well, they've taken a bunch of things and conflated them and then cut out God. That's the whole problem in this, is that God isn't necessary for this. Because, okay, we have done some pretty jacked up things to the planet. I don't think anybody can actually deny that. There is something to be stated about there are problems that are based in mankind dumping oil all over the place. There's problems in that.
Yeah.
We don't agree on the answer, but I still say there are problems.
Yeah.
Oh, no, just masters and doctorates. Wow, those guys were young. But, I mean, the other aspect is we are to steward creation, not to confess to it.
Yeah.
And it takes the idea of confession.
Your money for spending it too much. And you don't...
Do we? Should we, though?
No, we
should
not.
we confess to our money?
Take out your wallet, everyone.
Everyone, open your wallet.
I want you to pray to your wallet. Tell them how sorry you are that you bought all those clothes and now you only have $5 in your bank account for another week until your next paycheck.
I spend mine on a predominant amount of pizza, and that's the main problem and why I'm trying to jog more. No, this is a setup for a joke that I'm really not proud of. And I've been trying to live by the biblical command to give to Little Caesars what's Little Caesars.
Oh my gosh.
I will apologize to Little Caesar.
Little Caesars isn't even good. All right, I know.
It's not, but I love it.
It's so bad.
the other aspect I wanted to...
It's very bad.
We've been dunking on them for like 15 minutes. This is great. The other thing I do think is important is the need for confession.
Yeah.
Because that is a biblical thing. And there are two people we are to confess to from a biblical standpoint.
Yeah.
One of them is God, because that makes sense, right? Like, I'm not a crazy person for saying that. I don't need a whole bunch of explanation for that. Bring the stuff that you have to God.
I would say that's the main one.
Right, because
If
God
anyone-
already knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
don't
would
hide
say
it.
it delights him for you to come to him with that
Right.
stuff. I mean, that's
Right.
what he wants.
Absolutely.
It's
He's
for us
trying
to talk to him and tell him about all the crap in our life.
Right. Because, I mean, that's all I have is the thing I have. And if I'm coming to God bare, then that's the purest me I can give and say, God, I don't know. This is all I got. And I'm trying to be better and I can't because I need you.
Yeah.
Wonderful confession. And by bringing it to God, he is faithful and just to wipe it away and forgive us of all or of all of our garbage and all of our stuff. The other person in James 5, it says, therefore, confess your sins to one another and pray for one another that you may be healed.
Yeah.
The prayer of a righteous person has great power as it is working. And I think this is the thing that tends to scare us, is having to say to another person, hey, I need to confess my sins. Because that's the point that Christianity stops being a thought exercise and starts being a practicality of, oh, this is happening.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
this is
for
the
sure.
filth of all I have, and here it is.
Yeah, that's what we talked about last night at students. I served students at 1122, and that was something that was super good. As they were talking about how we need to find someone who we can connect with on that soul level, because that's no longer just that surface relationship with our friends. That is going down to what is coming up out of our soul. What we need to change to become more like Christ.
Right.
And obviously not because that's what gets salvation. I feel like I need to say that, but because it's just what we should want to do.
It's the outpouring of our faith is doing that. If I know God to be the thing I know God is, then part of the outpouring is that I confess this stuff to another person.
Yeah.
I know a few groups of people that is a big part of the discipleship process, is that they have to talk about the stuff they do, because anything that is being buried, then that's probably the thing that's going to kill a person.
Yeah.
I know of a few pastors have even talked about thinking through if one thing's going to take them down, what's that thing, and tell another person that thing. Because if it's and it isn't about just opening up our garbage to people, but it's about being able to protect and to find actual kind of connection together in order to heal. I mean, that's the whole point of James, is that in order that we may be healed.
Yeah.
If I'm bringing it out there, I'm able to be healed. If I'm going to a doctor, I'm able to be treated. If I'm just trying to hide it, though, like, I'm not sick, I don't need a doctor, well, then you're probably not going to get that healing. If I break an arm and then go like, it's probably fine, everything's great, another glorious day in the kingdom of heaven, hooray, every day with Jesus is sweeter than the next, I still have a broken arm and I'm not dealing with it, and people probably know.
Another thing is like, and I know I do this all the time, that's why I'm kind of bringing it up, is like saying that you and God are dealing with it is, I mean, sometimes true, yes.
Right.
But I
God
believe
very
it
clearly
is
says,
biblical,
go tell someone.
Yeah, go tell someone else, because God, we need to bring that to him first, I would say.
Absolutely.
But if it's just you and God, supposedly, you saying that, like, I'll do that all the time, and I won't even tell people. Like, I'll be going through something, and I'm just like, okay, God, it's just you and me. I don't, know, because I don't want to tell anyone.
Right.
Which is obviously not a good sign, because I should tell someone about it. That's why the Bible directs us to do that, because having a community there for us to help keep us accountable to. And not only confess, but the other big part of it is repentance, to run in the other direction. I think it's honestly impossible without a fellow Christian beside
Absolutely.
you. And it's not that God can't do that. It's not that God can't take it away from you. And I think he does do that through specific scenarios. But, like, you should always, no matter what, do what the Bible says.
Well, I mean, even go back to creation. God, through days 1 through 5, at the end of it, God goes, and it was good. Day 6, he creates a man, and the first thing he says is, it's not good that man is alone. And all it is him and Adam. It's just me and God. That is the only time that it's been just me and God. There was no other option for Adam at that point. In that, God still said, it's not good that man is alone. So this whole idea that it's just me and God and everything's great is complete fabricated bull honky. I caught it. We're good. It's a complete fabrication and goes against everything Scripture has said, because it's only until there's another person there that God goes, and it was very good. And I don't think that just is in a marriage context, although that tends to be the place all the married
Yeah, I
preachers
mean, I would
go.
say
Is
it's
like,
both.
oh man, it was super good because then they got it on, yeehaw, or something like that.
I think that's double meaning because I mean, I
yeah,
think that
it was also
obviously
very good.
man is not meant to be alone, but
Right.
also man needs a woman to keep him straight.
Right.
It's just true.
Right. But that was, that was
yeah.
the whole thing. Is it was just Adam and God, and it was not good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people gloss over that a ton, and it's important to have that community, that kind of mutual accountability to hold each other up, and to pursue God together. I think that's the big point.
Yeah.
And it can be dangerous to close people out, and there's a ton of that going around.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of closing people out, this was hard. Another thing that did occur is Pastor Jarrid Wilson of Harvest something or other. He had founded a ministry called Anthem of Hope, a ministry aimed at helping those that had depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts. Well, on September 10th, after having been very open about the struggles that he's had on depression and anxiety, he took his own life on September 10th. And it was kind of a thing that caught people off guard and didn't catch them off guard at all. It just watching all the people work through this. I know a Dr. Moore of the Southern Baptist churches. He said it was hard to process because he was supposed to have a meeting to talk to Jarrid and Anthem of Hope in 3 days, and now that he doesn't really know how to do that now. Do you know what I mean? Because they're good friends. They talk. They did that kind of stuff. But part of it came after, because he had just gotten out of a funeral where a person had taken their own life, and that kind of stirred up some thoughts in him that I just became too much to handle, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a tragedy. Because he struggled for a long amount of time and had a high pressure job, and had been open about his struggles, and it just became a weight too heavy to bear. So I want to clear up some things about committing suicide. First and foremost, if anybody's having those kinds of thoughts, depression, anything, don't think it's stupid. I'm not going to tell anybody. Go talk to somebody. Talk to a pastor. Talk to a counselor. Talk to a friend, but a good friend. Don't listen. All of us know the friend to not talk to. Oh, just don't. Okay, thanks, Scooter. Thanks for that.
Very helpful.
But I don't know. Is this a thing that you had growing up that I was always taught? Not taught. It was just kind of a thing that had been stated so many times. People just thought it was true that committing suicide is the unpardonable sin.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I was taught that.
Yeah.
I wasn't taught that, but that was kind of just like the unspoken thing.
Right. It's like, no, it's suicide.
But,
no, it's not.
Yeah, it's like, it's just not true.
Right.
I
exactly.
mean, Jesus died for all of our sins.
Right.
And just because the last thing we do is sin, doesn't mean that is what gets to define us.
Right. Right. That's like age-old Catholic theology.
And even I hear, I've heard the people talking about selfishness and the reasons that they did it, which I do want to make the argument of you don't know specifically what that person was going through. You don't know what made them do that decision at that moment. And everyone tries to come up with an answer when really it doesn't need an answer because we won't ever know.
Right.
But people will always go on the side of that was a selfish thing to do. That person had a family to look after. They had a wife. And it's and then that's kind of what defines them in that person's mind.
Right.
Is that, they're a selfish person because they committed suicide. which is wrong because like I just hate the fact that just because that is the last thing they did,
Right.
that is what defines people.
Sure.
And that's kind of annoying to me.
I think, and I don't agree on this as a mentality, and I'm going to make this very clear. Sometimes I've read there a couple case studies that people are doing this because they're in constant pain all the time, or in emotional torment all the time, and they feel it'd be better for their wife and kids if they aren't there. With that said, that mindset is wrong.
Yeah.
And that isn't a rational thought or God. That is the devil trying to stir a person up to do a thing that they can't undo.
Right.
I'm trying to be clear on that, but also understand that this is the perspective they hold, that to them this is the only alternative out. And granted, I do not agree. There are other things. I just think we have to be careful the way people talk about this and view people that do this.
Yeah.
Because there are other people who struggle through this every day, scared to talk about it.
Yeah.
And that becomes a huge problem if a person is bottling all this up because they don't feel as if they can go and talk about it. Jarrid was open about his stuff.
Yeah.
And had a high pressure job. It was a big church. It was high pressure. He was doing a ton, and that may not have been the smartest choices, but still, the man gave it everything he had, and I'm trying to honor that.
For sure.
Because he did. I mean, even starting Anthem of Hope, he understood the pain and the hell that people go through there, and wanted to do everything that Jarrid could in order to stop people on getting to this point. I don't know, man. This is
I mean, it's
this one got to me a bit. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't follow this guy a ton, but it got to me just because I'm tired of watching pastors kind of flame out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's super, super sad. But like, I don't know. I mean, there's so much surrounding everything, just like suicide, that it's just, I don't know. It is hard to comprehend and talk about, like, especially someone who doesn't go through depression or suicidal thoughts.
Right. And
I think, I mean, it's also important to note that, like, I mean, suicidal thoughts and, like, depression, that is a medical issue. And I know a lot of people who are like, oh, you just need to, I mean, I think you might have brought this up. You just need to believe in Jesus a little bit more. And it's like, I have no doubt
your
that
answer to a complex problem starts off by saying just keep it to yourself. I mean,
because, like, I have no doubt that Jarrid was a follower of Jesus.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
Sure. I have zero doubts. And it's not that Jesus can't heal, and it's not that Jesus can't deliver us from that. But it's also, I mean, like, we don't always see, I mean, God chooses to do his own things for his own reasons, and I choose to trust him with that. Obviously, it's hard at points. But, I mean, you just like cancer is an illness. Sometimes God doesn't choose to deliver people from cancer, and all this different stuff.
Yeah.
But it is important to note that depression is a medical issue, and I know multiple people where all you can really do is just pray that, you know, for healing. Like, it is a healing thing. It's not their. Yeah, I don't know.
You know, I think this is and this is a good path to a point I was actually thinking through on this, is that I've watched people get angry at people that are depressed and have anxiety and all this, and I'm going to be fair. It does come out of a good place. It comes out of a good intention, that they're tired of watching a person be in pain and feel as if they can't do anything about it, so they just get angry at them because it's just like, just stop, please. It's a plead. It isn't anger. It's a plead. However, it's not helpful, because this is the point that to extend the grace of God to people becomes an expense. It's a cost. It's an expenditure. It is the giving up of the self in order to care over a person, because paths out of this aren't easy.
Right.
They're painful. They're long and hard. There's good days and there's bad days, and there's plenty of bad days. And during those bad days, they need a person to be I mean, even if it's just to be there or to cry on or any of that, they need to have that, because part of this is feeling as if there isn't any other path or anybody that cares about them. And this is hard because it's not going to come at a good time for anybody. And this is that point, though, that as Christ gave himself up as an offering on our behalf, this is a time we can do that to another person.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a cost. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be painful. It's going to cost everything to do. And in the end, it's going to save a person. So don't get angry at people. I don't know. I'm getting all jazzed up. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, and it is an important thing to know, like, that is sometimes what can fuel them even more, because like you were saying, because people feel like they're a burden on people.
Right.
They feel like that, and you getting upset about it, and it kind of like strengthens that feeling towards them, like, because they wish they could just stop.
Right. They're trying. They want to stop. They hate this as much as we do. I mean, but I think it's important. They're not a burden. They're people created in the image of God, that they have a struggle that they're honest about.
And I think the best thing we can do is just to tell people we love them.
Smother them in grace and love.
Like, that's why Jesus told us to love people. Because simply, like, just telling someone, hey, I love you, and I want you around, and you are important to me, like, that is the words that I would say would probably help.
Yeah.
From what I've experienced, experiences I've had with stuff like that, and
then to be willing to be there during the darkest part that they're going through.
Yeah,
that's the time they need people the most, is in that, and just being a person that they can call and just freak out. That is instead of a burden, it's an honor. I had to think through this. I got really challenged on this on kind of another topic, that I had a few people they only called in crisis, and then every other time they, I mean, not depression or anything else, but just as they needed something. And that bothered me, because I thought it was a friendship, but it was a very one-sided thing. And then I was going through some article or something, and they said, okay, think about it closer to this, that these people who do this, when the times are tough, they come to the person they know is going to be able to come through for them. And that, as annoying as it could be at first, is such an honor and a privilege to have that kind of status in a person's mind, that that this is the person that can handle the garbage. And that they feel comfortable opening up the garbage to. That is an honor, to be able to minister to a person in that context. It's not a burden, it's an honor. Right. To be able to stand by a person and just dump grace on them. And I think until all of us get to the point of understanding that, hey, if a person needs this, I need to give up of myself in order to aid them, then this problem of is going to get worse overall. I mean, our culture is, especially American culture, is in a dangerous place of feeling very isolated and on our own, and people are reaching out for help, and none of us are really sure how to do that. And the biggest part is just the ministry of presence. I mean, phones are killing us, and it's like no one cares.
Yeah. I mean, and just to know that if you are that person for someone, it's going to get scary at times.
Oh, yeah. It's messy.
Just to get real with you guys, like, I had a friend, I have a friend, he's still my friend, but, like, just call in, like, the middle of the night, he's, like, sobbing, and, like, he was about to do it, and, like, there's nothing you can do, but, like, obviously I was, like, sobbing with him, just, like, pleading,
Right.
And there's not a lot you can do, and it's
Right.
terrifying. Like, I remember going back to sleep that night and just, like, trembling because,
Yeah.
like, you didn't know whether or not, when you wake up in the morning, if they're still going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a scary, it's a scary thing, and I know you've probably had experiences with that too, but, like...
Yeah, a few.
If you have those, like, if you put yourself in that spot for people like that, it's going to get messy, and
Absolutely.
just be prepared to
But
just love no matter what.
that's the gospel, is Christ came down in a messy of everything and got his hands in there in order to save us. That's the gospel. That's the core of the gospel, that all of us are to be Christ to the people who need it in that opportunity. A couple of things on this, just based on the experience I have, is if it's a kid, you got to get an adult involved. Period. That's just how that goes.
Oh, yeah.
Burn bridges to make that happen. I have told a couple people, even if you hate me, you are going to be here to hate me, and I'm okay with that. Which sounds messed up, but it's where we're at. I give them an opportunity to talk, love them, quote unquote, debate them on an emotional case, not on a factual case. This isn't facts. They're not dealing in facts. And then I was always positive to plan a thing a few days out, to call them the next day and check up, and then also take them out to have ice cream 2 or 3 days out. Because if a person, if they have a thing 2 or 3 days out, it's something to hope for, and it gives them even if it's ice cream, it's hope of ice cream, and that's, it's a thing. It gives them a thing to keep going, and do not cancel on that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I cannot stress that enough. Someone in your immediate family needs to die in order to cancel on that, and still call them.
Yeah.
Until them's like, oh, I forgot I had a dental appointment. Well, guess what, Skipper? You're not going to the dental appointment that day. You're going to the ice cream store. So
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Those are just a few things I've gone through. There is get people in on the process, give them the tools they need, give them names of counselors. I as a student pastor, I had that in the back pocket at all times. Like, hey, call this guy, set up an appointment. He's really good and cheap, so like perfect, you know.
Yeah.
And then just pray with them, pray over them, pray for them, and keep praying. You're gonna lose sleep some nights, and that needs to be okay.
Yep. Yeah.
It sounds really cold saying that, but I don't care.
Yeah. And if you
Like, I
are
really don't.
someone who is going through that stuff, I know we're kind of talking to people to help people like that, but
Right.
like, obviously, man, know that you're not a burden.
Yeah.
I'm
You're not a
you
burden,
might have
you're not
heard this a
alone.
million times, but you might have not, so it's worth saying. You're not a burden. You're
Not a burden.
alone. You are loved, not by just, I can tell you, me and Danny don't know all of our audience, but like,
We still love you.
we love you, yeah. And more
Not in
importantly,
that fake YouTube way. We actually do care about
yeah.
people made in the image of God.
And more importantly, God loves you. And it's just, I don't think we could emphasize that enough.
No. Yeah.
Find someone, tell them. Yeah.
Yeah, talk to people about stuff. If there's something to sum up at everything this whole podcast is, talk to people about your stuff. Be open about it, and be willing to have another person be open about their stuff too.
Yeah, it comes down to like just being open, like we were talking about last night, on the soul level. Like David and Jonathan, like their friendship is what we should all
baller. I love that thing.
Like, I can't remember, it was like 1 Samuel chapter 18, where it's basically them being introduced to each other, and Jonathan's talking about how he loves David like he loves his own soul, like
Right.
on that soul level.
Right.
And it's not something that, like,
And that stepbrothers, did we just become best friends?
Yeah, it's like they were brothers, and to the point where he protected him from his own father.
Right.
That was gonna kill him. So I mean, like,
hey, buddy. No big deal or nothing. But how fast can you run? Can you start now? Like, really get going. He's got spears and real. If he throws the left arm, completely useless. But he's the right arm.
Yeah.
Bear.
But we need to find people on that
Yeah.
on that level, and it doesn't. I mean, sometimes it happens immediately, and I would say like we just connect. But like both sides, like whether you're dealing with those. I mean, this is just for everyone. Fine.
Yeah.
If you don't have someone, I mean, Danny, I would say is definitely my person for when it comes to stuff on the soul level, on stuff I'm dealing with.
We have both definitely cried in front of each other multiple times.
Yeah.
Me more than you, but that says that doesn't say anything about you, but it definitely says something about me.
And try and get multiple people. I mean,
Yeah.
like it's. But yeah,
Well, all right,
find
but
those
you did
people.
pretty good.
Wow. Okay.
No, yeah, find multiple people.
But
A cord of 3 strands is not easily broken.
yes,
It's in the Bible somewhere in the middle.
somewhere in there. Trust me.
Yeah. No, but I mean, for people struggling though, talk to a pastor, talk to a counselor, talk to a friend, find that connection that Caleb's talking about, and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up, because God ain't done and we ain't either.
Yeah.
I wish there was a more theologically deep thing to
Amen.
say, but that's really,
Yeah.
God ain't done yet.
Yep.
Oh,
Wow, that was
yeah, I wanted to talk about that. I knew it was going to do this. I just really wanted to talk about it. Caleb.
Yes.
So sometimes people have questions about either the Bible, relationships, or life, and sometimes you and I are vastly underqualified to answer them, but give it a stab anyway.
Yeah.
If they wanted to ask us a question, where's a good place they could go?
You could go. I'm trying to think of all the different options, but I would say the best one is gospeloutpost.com/nobody special.
Boom.
Go to the bottom of the page. You can ask questions, and you can even say hello if you just want to say hello to us.
Hey, those make our day.
It does.
I'm
yeah.
going in to check and see if we've missed any. Keep talking.
And you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Nobody Special Podcast, and you can DM us there, or what's the Facebook version?
Message.
PM us, private message.
Prime Minister us your questions.
Can Prime Minister us.
Prime Minister your questions.
But yeah, because we love to hear from you, and I know that you're out there, and you're like, I really want to ask a question. I don't care how dumb it is. I don't even care if you just want to say hi. Like,
there
just,
are no.
Just H-I.
There are no dumb questions. What was the name of our podcast episode? I don't know. There's no dumb questions.
Yeah, there aren't any dumb questions. It's true.
I mean well,
like,
no, I ask a few, but that's different.
Specifically, Dan.
What?
Yes,
No, I did ask a dumb one to someone. Can I pull it up? I was gonna save it for next episode, but whatever. We're talking about it now.
I asked
dumb questions.
Yeah.
Warning, stupid question. This is the actual text I sent someone, and then we'll wrap it up. A warning, stupid question. What's the shoe brand that the logo appears to be a cross between a puma and a kangaroo?
Puma and a kangaroo. Puma?
No, Brooks.
I
Now,
have no idea what that is.
it's neither of those things, and I apologize to the person I sent that to. So, yeah. Anyway, there are no dumb questions, but if there are, I'll find them.
And we will answer them.
Yes, but please ask them anyway.
Yeah.
So.
But.
Yeah. Also, check us out on a YouTube. Go ahead and give that a subscribe,
YouTube.
a thumbs up, a share, ring the bell.
We have
Bookmark
been
in your
getting some
browser.
traction, so hello to our new subscribers.
Comment
which is kind of cool.
on someone's stuff. Tell them nobody special sent you. That would be a really confusing sentence. Nobody special sent me, and they'd be like, "Oh, neat. We did not think this through. 82 episodes in the books, and we didn't think this through."
Yeah.
Changing the name of the show. No, we're not. But yeah. Anyway.
No, really, nobody special sent me.
Nobody special sent me.
You
They're
don't
like,
want to know.
Yeah,
Nobody's special.
Yeah, we But yeah, but I think that is gonna do it for us today. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We really do appreciate all our fans and all the sharing, the 5-starring, and the comments. Thank you for the person who did that on iTunes. Appreciate it. So, but that's gonna do it for us today. I'm Danny,
And I'm Caleb.
and we are Nobody Special.